So would you say that's what regenerative agriculture is then? Is
Yeah, regenerative agriculture is where you are giving back to the earth, back to the planet, back to all the systems. So, regenerative agriculture is when you are building up the soil, which then builds up the quality of the nutrient, the vegetables being grown, all of the nutrients that we're going to consume, which then goes into our body, regenerates our body. And then, we also have a waste system. So, we then excrete this waste, which then goes back into the system. And it's a closed loop system. It's a cradle to cradle system that makes sure that no matter is lost, and it's actually built up. And so regenerative agriculture especially is looking at the microbiome of the soil. And you touched on that. And it's really important for people to understand that it is a living organism. And this living organism is made up of trillions of different bacteria and fungi and parasites, and they all work in unison to really trap nutrients in the soil so that they're not lost to the air when the wind blows by. And that's what you see in a lot of farmland across Canada and the United States, is that you can't even grow anything in soil anymore. Like you pick it up and it just falls apart and blows away in the wind. And so regenerative agriculture is when you have that deep, rich, dark brown soil that doesn't go anywhere. It's heavy, it holds water. And that's because it's got this living organism that's working together to bind to everything to make sure that it's all contained within. And our body's exactly the same way. We are made up of 40 quadrillion, different bacteria and parasites and fungi. And majority of that's in our large intestine. If you are damaging your microbiome with antibiotics, refined processed food, you're not getting a diversity of nutrients, then you're doing the same thing as what many farmers have done to our, decimated landscapes around North America.
That's really powerful, Nicolette. The image that's coming to mind is, as we eat those processed foods and highly refined foods, it's literally shutting our body down when our body actually has the wisdom inside of it, when it is nourished with real foods to come alive and to heal itself. And the same thing with the soil. The soil is still there, and it's still one of the most fascinating things I learned about the soil was that that it's not that there's no minerals in the soil to go into the nutrients, it's that the plants can't access those minerals because they've been deadened, they've been desiccated by the herbicides and pesticides that we use. So it's really powerful when it actually does come to life, because it has the ability to heal and feed the plants. And the plants can find the nutrients. It's like our brain can find the nutrients from our gut biome when our gut biome is alive and awake and able to speak. But if it can't.
And I love that you said that about the brain, because the brain requires 20% of the nutrient intakes that we consume. And that's a lot, considering our brain doesn't weigh very much. It's quite small part of our body. But it requires a heck of a lot of nutrients, because those nutrients are what create the energy in our body, like literally the power, plus sign, minus sign, energy, like a battery. And then if the brain doesn't get enough nutrients, it can't regulate the nervous system to do all of its different functions. And so that's when you feel like the brain fog creeping in, and you feel the temples tightening, like there's a vice on your head. And it's really the brain screaming out for nutrients. And when it gets those nutrients, that's when the energy comes in, the synapses start firing, and then all of a sudden it can stimulate the healing processes in the body. And if it can't do that, then that's when everything shuts down.